So there's a Florida Senate bill that's working its way through the Florida legislature that proposes essentially an immunity against civil action against pesticide makers in the state of Florida. I'm thinking that this is coming off the heels of RFK Jr. and his, essentially it's like a crusade against, basically like big pharma and the big food companies. There's a lot of poison that's being put in our food. Now, I'm not a fan of government regulation at all. I believe that the private sector, would sort that out. You'd have public debates. People will say that this is not healthy. This is better for you. This is not so good for you. And there already is. You can look on the internet and they're going to tell you to avoid seed oils, any form of processed sugar, whether it be high fructose corn syrup or some of these other additives or sweeteners. Avoid GMO. If you can afford to eat organic. So, with that being said, if something is sufficiently poisonous or sufficiently toxic, that is a claim that a citizen can say that, that the glyphosates in the case or the example that this article uses in the state of Georgia, that somebody sued Monsanto saying that the glyphosates caused his cancer and he won. Something like that would make sense. If you're a private sector, big corporation, you don't want to use something that's toxic to human health that somebody's going to then turn around and consume. It's just not good business. It's not good for your image. Of course, Monsanto grew and to be what it is because of its relationship with the regulators. So if government wasn't involved in this sector to begin with, companies like Monsanto probably wouldn't be what they are today. So keep that in mind. There's a revolving door between the leadership of Monsanto and the leadership in the FDA. So, I think this is, again, a bad idea. If somebody is actually injured as a result of something that a pesticide maker does, that person ought to have the right to say that this product injured me, you did something you didn't have to do, and at least state their case. Now, I'm not a fan of frivolous lawsuits. There's obviously, we all heard of the case where somebody spilled hot coffee and sued McDonald's, and that's just absurd. But people should always at least have the right to voice their opinions, to bring, if they're being injured, to bring that, in front of a jury, and then allow, hopefully, rational people to decide, what should be done as a result, if there should be a recourse or not. So I oppose any form of government intervention in the private sector, and this is a case of the state of Florida getting involved and where they shouldn't be involved. They shouldn't be involved in anything regarding the private sector. I understand that the pesticide makers are trying to be protected from the government, in this case, RFK Jr. That makes sense, but covering it up with more government will make the situation worse. Yes, I'm sure the pesticide makers are lobbying the government to do this in the state of Florida. The policymakers, the politicians in Florida, I would really hope would know better to say no. We legislate on behalf of the citizens of Florida and not of special interests. But, I'm a bit of an idealist in that regard. But anyway, the government should just stay out of all this completely and allow the chips to fall where they may.